I'll repeat that. Service is the rent we pay for a living. It is the very purpose of life and not something you do in your spare time. That became my motto for life. The hard part about that was that it fed into my already warped belief that I was not worthy of joy and love and ease and peace and that it had to be earned. But through the community that I developed here, and I tell you, some of the USAs are my closest family members, they're my closest friends, we actually literally live next door to each other. Through that community, I've learned so much more, that life is bigger than surviving and fighting. That joy is mine, and I say to you, all of you SL Squares, joy is yours. It cost me some things. It cost me my health for a while, and it cost me some of the last years with my mom. But I thought that was the price you pay for freedom. Why do I say this? Not to be doom and gloom, but I say this because I want someone to say to you what no one said to me. If we are to win, and I believe that we will, revolution will take strength, dedication, and courage. If we are to win, and I believe that we will, we must begin with the most revolutionary act that exists, loving ourselves and loving each other. I'm the Executive Director of Public Ally Silicon Valley, San Francisco, as Pam shared with you. Public Ally serves emerging leaders who have been historically oppressed, marginalized, or come from concentrated disadvantage. We help them access their own power and personal and collective power. And yet, this social justice org that I love and lead still gives folks only two binaries in terms of gender to use, and still uses antiquated checkboxes for race. I lead this org. Radical revolutionary change is hard and takes time. I tell you that as being accountable for the shifts that I am trying to make in my own org and in my own self. If we are to disrupt and turn this evil system on its head, it starts at the very foundations. We must be about the liberation, freedom, and upliftment of each other and ourselves. Not calling each other out. That's not what I'm about. This is not about love. This is about love. Not calling each other out or tearing each other down, but calling each other in and holding ourselves and each other accountable for doing it differently. My AmeriCorps members will tell you we challenge them to consider their own position in the world, to do more than the bare minimum, to work together even when differences may be of perspective, identity, or philosophical. Even when those differences threaten to rip the collaborations to shreds, to be accountable, to act with integrity, and to honor community trust. To remember it is not enough to read a book about justice. It is not enough to just take a class. It is not enough to stand on a milk carton or behind a podium and talk about what everyone else is or isn't doing. It isn't enough to watch others take risks and remain in safe spaces ourselves. It is not enough to intellectually acknowledge our privileges and responsibilities, but not act differently. We must act, and we must act now. We must risk speaking the truth to power, our friends, families, but most importantly, to ourselves. You have contributed numerous hours of service and academic scholarship. You have reflected on yourself and your role in community. And if you're like me and many of the other pioneers, one of your greatest challenges or some of your greatest challenges may have been your own growth, finding your voice, acting with courage, and fighting for a more just world. But know your work is just starting. Tonight I'm supposed to speak about justice and its relationship to love. The only line I can tell you is that they're inseparable, period. In my vein, there is a heartbeat of justice, and it beats with the voice and to the voice of El Hajj Malik El-Shabazz and to the voice of Yuri Kochiyama. It doesn't allow me to get boggled down by bigoted politicians or frustrations with microaggressions, harsh words spoken, thank yous not given, and I won't let even my own selfish desires or forgetful self get in the way. I remember how far Rufus, Sarah, Sister Mary, Mother Miller, and many other unnamed sisters and brothers fought for justice. I know that I too can go on. I remember Thich Nhat Hanh's compassion and capacity for compassion, and I know I can show more. You see, I don't just say I stand on the backs of giants, but I stand on their backs so that I can see better. And I learn from them. Each week, the news tells us another tragedy about injustice we are supposed to swallow. People may say that the work of social justice and revolution isn't real work. But to you, this is what I say and what you can say back. We are standing here because of the work that others have done. Working for social justice and fighting for what's right is important and real work. It's a revolution that must be based on love. And if someone tells you that it's not real work, they've never stayed up all night hurting and aching, but still finding words to show solidarity to another, or working to enable someone else's narrative to be told. They've never had the dignity to face those who tell you you're an abomination because of who you love. They've never known the courage it takes to speak up to your family and friends. No, they who say this is not real work, or this work doesn't matter, or that we're too hostile, or too forward, or too demanding, or too heavy, or too much about revolution, they are the ones that only theorize about revolution. They keep their hands clean while criticizing those of us that do the heavy lifting, with our family, our friends, and ourselves. Cornel West reminds us that the country is in deep trouble. We've forgotten that a rich life consists fundamentally of serving others, trying to leave the world a little better than we found it. We need the courage to question the powers that be, the courage to be impatient with evil and patient with people. Impatient with evil and patient with people. The courage to fight for social justice. In many instances, we will be stepping out on nothing and just hoping to land on something. But that is the struggle. To live is to wrestle with despair, yet never allow despair to have the last word. To live is to wrestle with despair, but never allow despair to have the last word. And most importantly, justice is what love looks like in public, as tenderness is what love looks like in private. So as you go forth, remember you are love, S.L. swears. You are deserving of love, and you are deserving of justice. Remember that you need a support system, a root system that is strong enough to comfort you and support you and hold you as you continue to do good work. It's easy to talk about it and worry about saying the right things to the right people at the right time. It's harder to live about it and be about it and do the right things at any time. In Public Allies, we always close our events and our gatherings in the same way every time. And I would like to invite all of you to join me in that closing. So please, if you are able, please stand and repeat the words after me as you think about the words as we say them together. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other.
We must love each other.
Support each other.
Support each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love each other.
We must love each other.
Support each other.
Support each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Thank you for allowing me to be here.